Maybe. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another Tuesday night.
What's
Chat with
up?
Muskrat,
Come
Mr.
on.
Creole, and Brad from Tidal Weights. What's going on, fellas?
How's it
What's
going?
happening, Roger?
Creole, your camera's off. What's going on over there?
You said I was too ugly to be on camera.
Hey, you don't repeat that stuff, man.
That was that. Oh, yeah, that's why you told me not to say it on camera. Okay, sorry, boss.
Yeah, you got to, man, some stuff. You buy into books, you send them to school, and what do you get, right?
Hey,
No,
hey.
tell them what's really going on so I don't get any mean mugs.
Oh, no. I just had a very long trip home from work, so I'm joining the show from the road. We took the show on the road today.
So we asked him to leave his camera off and pay attention to the road. He can listen and still comment and talk to us throughout the show.
Oh, yeah.
But we want him to be safe and keep his eyes on the road. So,
Yep.
Thanks for joining in. And before we get rolling too quickly, I'll stop and say hello to some folks. And Brad, you're more than welcome to help me call some of these out, since how Creole is not able to help with his eyeballs tonight. And we both know you do a great job with the chat. So
Yeah, I have it up.
we got Tommy Long over at Minnow Dunkers, Mike's Fishing Home, Bobcat, channel member. Thanks, Bobcat, for stopping in. We got Thomas Littlepage, Down East Tackle, Matt with Wanna Be Outdoors. Brian B is in the house. See, Frank Lampern's in the house as well. CBA, John Patrick Jr. I'm going to try to get through this quick.
You got Zach fishing with the squirrel, 3+1, Dale Hayslip, Charity Colvin Fishing, Ian Titman, Mr. Gadget's in here. Welcome in, everybody. David Smith, Clayton the Fishing Nuts in here, Bobcat, Down East Tackle.
Jacob's in here. Robert Denzer's in here. He's a couple local guys there. Mr. Chad Feels the Waters in the house. Let's see.
Whisper and Dreams. We got River Rat.
River Rat. We got Larry with 3+1 Outdoors. Did you already say Jeremy Colvin?
Yep, but we can say him again. They'll never hurt anything.
We
got
can.
Buckeye Catfishing in here.
Hey, what's
Welcome
up, Jim?
in.
We got somebody tuning in from Facebook. Says howdy, Roger, but it doesn't let me see your
Mike
name unless you give the permissions to let me see your name. And so whoever's tuning in from Facebook, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Let's see. I'm gonna try to get down here. It says we got 47 people already. We just getting started. We got Whiskers and Dreams. I see Mike Greenwell in the house as well. He was heartbroken last night, as I was, as the daggone wheel just would not land on our names.
You got Michelle and LG Bass in here. Welcome in.
There we go. River Rat. That's my buddy Rusty Moorfield. Him and his dad, and they went out this last week. First two fish they doubled up on was a 70-pounder and a 40-pounder.
Woo!
First two fish of the day. Hey, you might know that guy there. You got Jason in the house.
Yep, he's actually sitting here with me.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's watching chat too, so in case I missed something.
All right. Still waiting on Roger to come out and fish. It's happening. I'm telling you, things are changing this year. I got big plans. Mike Irvin's in the house. Richard with Fishing and Freedom, another channel member. Thanks for stopping in. Cincinnati Cat was crack-a-lacking. So let's see. Somebody's already going with bacon. Mr. Gadget. So Brad, how's the sinker business coming over there?
It's pretty good. It's been pretty good. It's been busy, that's for sure. I was actually making some. I got off work and went out and started working on it when we got home. So, and up till coming in here and doing this. So, and still ain't done, but made a dent in it.
Brenda with Catfishing with Costs is tuning in. She says, "Hey Roger, Brad and Creole driving. Can't chat, but listening to everyone. Cost be safe, be careful, and thanks for listening in." We got El Gato Azul TV. Mr. Chris, what's going on, buddy? If you guys haven't checked his channel out, man, I have a good time watching him and especially when him and his son get on there. His son starts giving him a hard time. Let's get on some good fish, man. I love dragging.
Oh yeah.
Love dragging. So we'll get going here. So looks like people are starting to stock up for spring. Imagine you said you've been pretty busy with orders coming in, and then you just dropped a new item to your arsenal. This last week?
Yeah.
And it's called, you call them what now? Rock bottom
draggers.
Rock bottom draggers. And I've got some here. I got my hands on a couple, and I'm excited to put them to work. I love that design with the float inside, so that makes them stand upright, and you got more chance of them things going over top of stuff.
Yeah,
laying flat and dragging through.
Yeah, we made up a whole bunch of prototypes when we started doing this. I mean, we started doing a bunch of different designs probably a little over a year and a half ago, messing with them, because we were trying to find something that was a little more versatile. Because the slinkies can work good in situations, but the drifting sticks, they can get hung up too, and they're solid. So that's why we made them the way we did. There's still some rigidness to them, but they still got give. So
what ounces do you offer those in? Mike Remo's asking.
Right now we do two through. We're going to start doing 6 ounces. I haven't did them yet. I've made some for some people, some 6s and some 8s, but there's a lot more material involved when they start getting bigger. So. And it's kind of a trial and error thing, because we haven't got to actually put them in the water on the 6s and 8s and fully test them. So we didn't plan on making them that big, but we've had a lot of people ask for them. So.
All right. So actually, I'll start with the first question. I missed it originally, but so we got some questions coming in, and this is what I was hoping for tonight, guys.
Absolutely.
The idea behind this show was, and Brad's told me that, it's on occasions he still gets lots of questions about what type of sinker to use in what situations. And so we thought, man, that's a good subject. Let's just do a show about it. And you guys have questions about what type of sinker to use, or this is your scenario that you fish, what would he suggest and whatnot? Because the cool thing about Brad is he's not just a guy that's in this to make money, because his prices are rock bottom.
Yeah, we don't make much money on lead, I'll tell you that.
I know that, because I pour my own lead, and it's probably still cheaper for me to buy it from you than it is to go buy a mold.
We really just been doing it to kind of assist in helping people get lead at a better price is really what we were doing. Which I mean, we do make some money on it, but you're looking at pennies on the pound. So
yeah,
but it's nice to do, because I mean, we make sinkers for ourselves anyways. So. It's actually pretty relaxing to do it when you get in a rhythm of doing it.
Yeah.
So it's a good little break.
So Mr. Gadget asked Brad, what kind of eyes do you like best for lead weight casting?
Me personally, I like to use, and this is my preference, I like to use the sinker slides and use the brass eyes mainly for convenience, because if I want to pull something off, say I'm suspend fishing, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the 10 ounce, anywhere from a 6 to 10 ounce cannonball, and I'm going to suspend. But if the current where we want to fish next is a lot higher and we're going to be on anchor, I'll take and change up, and depending on how much current we have, I'll go to a coin or a flat bank if it's real high.
Yeah.
And the nice thing, if you get the right sinker slides, even these lead eyes on these will still go in them.
Right.
And they make it really easy to change out, because you can throw it out and put a 6 out there, be like, current's ripping pretty good, we'll throw a 6, and the 6 don't stay. You can reel it back in and pull an 8 or 10 or a 12 on and get your current, your weight right to your current, because not every position or situation when you're fishing is going to be the same. And we try to target them, the current seams and stuff. So one side of the boat might only have a 6 on it, and you might be using a 12, 14, or 16 on the other side of the boat to keep it.
Yeah, we were just talking about that scenario earlier.
We were. Me and Roger were visiting. about that.
We tend to do that a lot, and sometimes they'll be in that current, and sometimes they'll be on the break, and sometimes they'll be just off of it, and it gives you an idea where they're at, because we'll fish 2 rods off the back and 2 rods off the side on the Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a total of 6 rods out.
Somebody from Facebook here is wanting to know the difference between dragon weights and normal weights. What makes a dragon weight a dragon weight?
Well, it's kind of the design on it. Like some people use these trolling weights like this. They'll use these and hook them in line, and you can drag with these. I mean, I've seen people do it, but the nice thing about the dragging weights, these still get hung up real easy.
Right.
And they'll catch the front of this and they'll grab, and if it gets into something heavy or thick, it's hung up, and you'll be either breaking the line or getting it broke off. These are going to hold your bait up off the bottom some and keep your bait back where you want it. So depending on where you're putting your float on your leader is going to kind of depend on where your bait's going to be. So if you put that float a little off the hook and set it back, that bait, you can adjust it and get that bait closer to the bottom where you want it. Or if you want it up, if they're biting up in the water column, you can actually put the float closer to the hook. And this will keep you out of snags. I mean, nothing's snag proof. No matter what you put on it, if you get in the right situation, they're going to get hung up. It's just a part of it. But these are quite a bit cheaper than the drifting sticks. And from what we've used them, and I gave out a whole bunch to a bunch of people to try them. And so far, I've only heard 2 get lost from being cut off from ice chunks. So we're not doing too bad.
Yeah, Chris over Hooks and Hammocks sent me a picture just a second ago of all his looks like blue and pink, or pink and purple. I'm not sure. But yeah, they're pretty sharp looking. Down East Tackle says, Brad, what about a good rate to ship to Canada? I want to get them in some stores here. Yeah,
I've been working on that as much as I can at the moment, but I haven't found anything. I actually called another guy to ask him about it, because I know he does some shipping. He doesn't ship lead, so don't really help out a whole lot. Still working on it. Hopefully, eventually we can find someone to take and find a better way to ship it. It's the weight that kills you on them more than anything.
Yeah. Poundage.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says he's going to check them out. He knows he's all about dragging the planer boards. We lost Creole.
Yeah, we use them on under planer boards or dragging them off the back of the boat. Me personally, I like to keep that rod at a 45 when we're dragging off the back of the boat.
That's a question that a lot of people get asked anymore, is what rod position they prefer and for what reason. So for you dragging, you like the 45?
I do, but then again, it depends on the depth of the water too. The depth of the water and how far you're dragging them off the back of the boat is really the huge difference. Because if you're in 80 foot of water and you're dragging, you're probably going to have them off the back of it pretty far.
Yeah.
And then you'd probably need them at like a 33 or a 30 degree angle. But a lot of it's on your water depth and how far you're trolling them off the back of the boat.
Matt says it's awesome when you buy lead from Brad. It's awesome to give something a little extra.
Yep.
Yeah, that it helps. It helps a lot. Like you said, you're making pennies on the pound when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So you're doing it to help the catfish community. Like you said, you're an avid fisherman yourself. You figured out what works and don't work because you spent a lot of time on the water.
And there's a lot of sinker styles that I don't have yet, and there's a lot of them that I don't use. Like I just got a good deal on a 4-ounce pyramid mold, so if anybody wants them, I got them in 4 ounce. But I wasn't rushing out to spend $60 on a mold that don't get asked to get bought very often. Yeah.
So what sinker is probably your most popular?
It really depends. Okay. A lot of times I'll tend to actually take and use these more than anything.
Really?
Because just the angles that they have on them, if you suspend drift with them, they sit up like this. The water goes around them good. So you can realistically, these will go for like a multi-purpose. I mean, you can use them a few different ways, which is nice.
Huh.
But I notice a lot of time in current, the coins tend to float a while before they ever settle. So you almost have to throw in front of the boat and let them come back and see where they settle to throw your next one. Where the flat banks, you can kind of throw them and they're going to pretty much settle where they're going to settle at. They shoot down pretty fast. I think a lot of it's the design of how they make them.
Yeah, I would have thought suspending that would cause it to spin. I've never used
a
bank style sinker.
Yeah, they don't really do that too much. The cannonballs, I like to if I'm suspended underneath the boat, I like to use them there.
Right.
And that's just because of the shape. They don't spin, and if you do double them up, they will spin horribly. And I will let you know that right now. I did that the hard way a couple times where we'd ran out of a bigger sinker, and I'm like, I'll just put 2 on it, and I'm like, yeah, that was bad, because you come back with a bird's nest worse than you get in your reel.
Yeah, that's tough. I've always just kind of went with the coin sinker. It seems to coin and cannonball is about the only 2 I've got. I've got some pencil sinkers I use them for certain occasions, but
yeah,
for me, I think everything I got's a coin or a cannonball.
Yeah, if you get up in front of the dams on the Ohio River, the coins they tend to float. You'll see it in your line. You can feel it still coming down, but it's slow.
It's kind of fluttering then on its way down.
Yeah, they kind of flutter around and twist and turn and flip and flop. It's not that they don't get there. Once they get down where they're supposed to be, they do good. It's just if next time you're out and you're in good current, throw it and watch from where you threw it and hit the water at to where it actually ends up. You'll be surprised how far they'll actually travel.
No kidding. We've got a lot of people that have joined us since we started the show, so I want to give a couple more hellos, and if you see some in there I missed, help me out a little bit. But we got Mike's Fishing Home, and Mike's Fishing Home had a giveaway there not too long ago, and I was lucky enough to be the winner of his decal and an Amazon gift card. So
awesome,
Mike, I did get that this week. Thanks again. But we got Chris, Hooks and Hammocks is in the house. Mark, Catfish and Crappie. Stonefly 71. We got Sean, Catfish Heroes, hanging out with us as well. Annette Morgan.
Harold Bolton's in here. And Harold, yeah, I will be at CatCon Saturday.
Avid Fisherman's in the house as well. Don R. Philip James is in the house. All right.
Catfish Broadcasting booths in here.
Chad. Did Roger just say Brad looks like Avid Fisherman if Avid shaved everything? So Stonefly wants to know, what brand molds do you buy?
I do have some Do-It molds, but I also I have 3 CNC custom, they're Don's custom molds that I use. I actually like them. They machine them out of aluminum, and they got a real nice smooth finish on them.
Yeah.
So like the custom molds, when you pour them, they'll have a nice shiny face on them, and they're not real rough. Where the Do-It molds, they get a little more of a texture on them. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. I'll try to get it close. You see, they kind of got a little rough texture on them. It's not bad, but when you this is out of a custom mold.
Yeah, they are sharp. I like them.
They're quite a bit smoother. I mean, it don't really make a lot of difference, just more of appearance. But I've actually weighed these, and they weigh almost 17 pounds. So,
holy crap!
Yeah, or well, 17 ounces. But where the the do it molds, they do an advertised on them, and they're still really close to the advertised weight, but they're still just a little on the light side, and the custom molds tend to be on the heavier side of it.
Here's something different I haven't thought about is the big flat sinkers. The large, I use a small zip tie to attach them.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea to do it. They break off, but they get hung up too if you use a light enough one.
Right. Yeah. Kind of a same idea behind your anchor.
Yeah. There's another do it mold. You can see the camera shows that they're got a little rougher finish on them.
Right. Well, the thing I mentioned before about the custom molds you get made is that, and this is one of those there. They're pretty.
Yeah.
But they're also flatter. So when I took an 8-ounce do it mold and I took one of your 8-ounce custom molds and put them side by side, your 8-ounce was much flatter, like a pancake, as opposed to the more rounded,
like a tire.
Like a tire, yeah. And it wasn't until I had both of them in my hand in the boat, and I was like, you know what? I feel like that lower profile, thinner sinker on the bottom is going to create less drag, less resistance, and you could get away with maybe a smaller weight or not have slippage because of the profile.
Yep, they definitely will.
Here's another interesting. I've done this too. 6-ounce dragging weight on the bottom of Kentucky rig used for drifting.
Yeah.
That way, when you do come in, because the hard thing about vertical drifting is constantly changing the altitude of your baits off the bottom, and that dragging weight would really help out there a lot. We got Patriot James in the house. What's up, buddy? Me and Jeremy was talking about this earlier. We used to spend 24 to 30 plus ounce weights dead sticking in the summer, mostly used bank sinker. Holy.
Yep. Now, Brad, actually, that does bring up a question that I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure some other people in chat would want to know, especially in suspending, I find, it takes a heavy weight sometimes to hang that rig straight down from your boat. As far as shape of a sinker, what shape do you think is like the most efficient as far as surface area? Like basically the least surface area, but with the most weight. What do you think?
I like using the cannonballs underneath the boat, mainly because I can dictate. If I put a 10-ounce one underneath it on the Ohio, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be less than a foot off of where I have it.
Okay.
But the nice thing is, if you have a variety of weights of the cannonballs, you can change your weights, and you might have your first rod that's closest to you a foot off, and then you can go to a 8-ounce, and you can actually move it further off the boat. And then the back rod, if you do a 6, it'll actually push it off further off the back of the boat.
I got you.
So you can kind of hit a few different areas right underneath the boat, just off the boat, and then off the back. But it just depends on how you want to do it. I like using Uncle Lou's planer boards off the sides as much as we can get.
What's up, Robert? We also had Brandon Enix, broadcast booth tuning in. We got 2 stands. We got actual 2 stands, and then we got Susquehanna stand. So we got 2 stands.
We got 2 stands.
We got Bink Fox in the house. Kelly Bullock's in the house as well. Thanks, guys, for stopping in.
Welcome in. Mark with Catfish and Crappies in here.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Hey, you guys didn't hear you guys didn't happen to hear like a loud thump through my microphone, did you?
Oh, we heard it all. What'd you hit?
Yeah.
I may or may not have smoked a possum.
We didn't. Creole, I can't lie to you. We didn't hear it, but it's a good story though.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
We got Hazlife in the house. He says, Brad, I'm making you busier. I got another order for you.
Yeah, I was already working on the one, unless you got another one.
So if somebody could post Brad's, I checked my description here, and I thought for sure I had your link in the description, but I don't. If somebody could, I knew Brian posted it earlier for us, and I appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Drop his link in there in case you guys are wanting to get a hold of him and check out his rates and weights and all that stuff. Got Fat Boy Eric in the house, channel member. What's going on, Eric? Hey, Eric, if you wasn't paying attention earlier, I tagged you in on Mike Greenwell's post. It's on a fish finder. It sounds like pretty much exactly what we talked about last week. So if you didn't see your tag, check your Facebook out. Has anyone thought about doing heavier weight drop hot style lead for suspended baits? This way adjusting up and down is easier. Huh.
We suspend drift a lot.
Yeah.
Like when you get out of this spring and late fall, when the bite starts slowing down, like between that periods where we suspend drift a lot. When that bite slows down off the suspend drift, then we go to anchor. But especially on the Ohio.
Chris. Eric dropping all the emojis across there. Hey, Brian's got your link out there. Mark's also dropped the links. Thanks, fellas, for helping him out there.
I do have another question for you, if you don't mind. You know, kind of a little bit of a different subject, but not really. Sourcing of scrap lead to make your own weights. You know, in your experience, you know, what are some of the places, you know, that some people can go to try to get lead? In your experience, maybe what's the cleanest source, less waste, you know, things like that?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Well, I can tell you right now, wheel weights is not the way to do it, because you can get 50 to 70% waste off of them. So if you're buying them, by the time that you actually take to clean it, it's worth it if you're doing a few for yourself. But if you're actually making them for people, it's not a good way to do it, because you burn up a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time.
I agree. That's how I started off doing it, was wheel weights, and man, it's messy. It's messy.
All the zinc in it will make the sinkers. I mean, you won't scratch them because they're going to be like steel. They get real hard, which ain't a bad thing. But if you get hung up and you got hard lead, you're not getting it back. If it's softer, it might scuff and cut a line through it. I seen Chunky do it not even a month ago. He got it caught. One of the, let's see here. This is Chunky's style weight. He uses the swivels on it, and he actually cut one of these probably about in half and still end up getting it back.
Wow.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
And it was bent, twisted, and I'm like, I almost want you to send this to me, because it is pretty cool that it made it back out.
I know, right? It kind of speaks a lot to the fishing line, doesn't it?
Yeah, lots of line and lots of the brass eyes that are in them, because I mean, if you look at the brass eyes, you wouldn't think that they would carry a whole lot of weight value as far as pulling on them and yanking them out, because they just put little bends in them. But them little bends, they'll hold some pressure, obviously, because whatever pound test line he had they stayed in there and they didn't bend or nothing. I'm like, I was pretty impressed, because brass is pretty soft.
Right. Here's a good tip from Tommy. He says he trades in his aluminum cans to the local scrap yard for lead.
Wow, that's not a bad idea.
Clouds.
Kids checking on you?
Yeah, she had to tell me about where tornadoes come from.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the winds we got around here right now, you'd think there's a tornado coming.
I know. They had us tying stuff down at work today, and I'm like, man, I'm like, I remember why I hate doing this, because we were have to use a lot of extra wire, and crawl around places you don't want to revisit after you get done with them sometimes.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Tom. At what temp does lead melt?
I don't even remember right off a hand. It's pretty low, because you can actually melt 10, and 10 and lead are they're pretty close to the same temperature.
Yeah, I can't remember. I thought it was around 600, but I don't know for sure.
It's somewhere in there. It's like 600 or 700 degrees, because the Lee melting pots are 800. It's like they go up to like 800 degrees, because that dial actually dictates that.
Yeah.
Mr. Morello says brass is soft, but so are his elbows and his back too. Here's a great idea from Mr. Gadget. Says he gets his from black powder ranges, everything from 1 ounce musket balls to 5 pound cannon rounds.
Yeah, that's as soft lead as you get. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, if you're going to do it, I would call around first before you ever try going anywhere.
Yeah.
This is, in my experience, this here is the best stuff I've found. Hospital construction lead board.
Yeah. Yeah, they use that. They call it lead liner. They do it in the X-ray room, so the radiation doesn't go through to the room beside it.
Yep.
Which, if you get it, it's great. But in that case, if you're using that kind of lead, you actually will want to put something in it, just a little. You want to put some zinc in it, because it's really soft, really soft.
I got you.
It's good lead. It's good lead.
Yeah, see, right now in my shop, I'm whittling away at it pretty good, but I've got a big roll of sheet lead, like what they used to use, like in old roofing old houses and things like that.
Yep.
I got probably 40 pounds left, so I'm kind of starting to eyeball my options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 40 pounds don't go very far.
Well, no. It's just me, but still, you know, and the sinkers I pull for myself are big. You know, you start losing 20 ounces of lead at a time, it goes quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, but you want to find the cleanest lead you can get when you're doing it, because it's only gonna, if you have to add zinc into it, it's not that big of a deal. It's easy to do it, but when you got to take zinc out because there's too much, then you get a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of mess.
Yeah. A lot of waste. I got a 55-gallon drum out there that's part of the way full of just waste.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Looks like somebody's Googled the melting point of lead. I'm seeing
621 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ohio River is out of control right now. I know that I don't see Freddie or J-Dog in here, but I know that they've been out fishing. Actually, yesterday, Chris was out with them too. I think they only caught one fish, but the river down here is out of control.
But I know all the rivers and little creeks and stuff we have are almost out of the banks, so I can only imagine how bad the Ohio is.
Yeah, I had to cross over a bridge that goes over a small creek on the way back home today, and right as I pulled up, the water was over the road when I went by, and when I came back through 15 minutes later, it was about 10 inches deep, almost a foot deep, and they were closing the road, but I went through anyway before they get closing.
So that means I'll see all that water in about 3 weeks, right, Roger?
It's coming. It's on the way, man. I put a little note in a bottle, and you let me know if you find it.
Oh, I'll find it. Oh yeah, I promise you. I'll see it in about 3 weeks or a month. I promise you.
Oh yeah, you'll be wishing you didn't have all of it, probably.
Bring it. I like it. The faster the better. It pins those fish down in predictable locations. Bring it on.
Yep. Yeah, once the water's high for a few days, I don't mind it. I don't mind high water. I don't mind low water. I don't mind any weather condition. Actually, my least favorite condition is wind. Rain, snow, sleet, hail, I can deal with all that. But wind, Wind is the worst to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah, wind will mess up your day worse than high water will.
Yeah, it gets dangerous, and the rest could be uncomfortable. And but I can get through that, but the wind just makes things so unpleasant and dangerous. It's just not worth it.
It makes it really bad when it goes against the current. It makes it worse.
Ooh, yeah. That river gets very, very rough when that happens.
Has you got 7 kids? It's safe to say you got lead in your pencil.
Wow.
X-ray room liner is clean. Yeah. War pigs in the house. What's going on? No, so you didn't question anyone else, but got to me and assumed I Googled it. Thanks for the faith. You're not wrong. I Googled
it. Chad, I'll remember that next time you go out fishing.
Oh.
J-Dog, Freddie, and Lee are going fishing tomorrow. The little turds, I talked to them earlier today. I told them that they were going out tomorrow. I'd come down, and I'd bring my boat down if they needed me to. Punks. Let's see.
Well, I'll try. I gave you the best advice I can possibly give. It might not mean much, but try to go find them.
Did he cut out? He said it might not mean much. He gone.
Oh, am I back?
Nope, you're good now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he cut out. As I said, I tried. It might not mean much, but at least I might be able to find a couple of fish that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're fishing the Licking River most of the time right now, which it's a good option when the high river's out of control like it is. Those back creeks and everything else get backed up. They are great options, but if they're not there, you got to go out on the river and find them.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if they are there and they won't bite, which is I think the problem they ran into yesterday. They found fish, they just couldn't get them to eat. Which is common, when our river shoots up like it does around here, and Brad knows because he fishes the Ohio with me too. When it jumps 20, 30 feet in a matter of 2-3 days, those fish are in instinct mode. They're looking for places to hide. They're looking for places to get safe.
Chicken helps that.
Chicken helps it?
Yeah.
It helps. It makes them want to eat?
Yeah, it does. And we always have good luck on chicken on the Ohio. Especially if you can find some lower current or a break in it.
Quiet man. Curtis in the house. What's up, buddy?
Well, Curtis.
Thomas says they fished today and got skunked. I think river was way up. Oh, when I talked to them, they hadn't went out on the river yet. It was pouring down rain earlier today, but the rain quit, at least in my area, and got super windy. I would have gone today in the wind or in the rain, being 60 degrees. Raining wouldn't bother me none, but this wind, it makes it tough.
Yeah, when the river's up like that, it's better to find current breaks in the bends where the current's not as strong at to fish them. Right. Even some of the streams and creeks and rivers that go into the Ohio, even if you're on them and they're flowing pretty good, they might not be in there.
Well, what'll probably happen at this point, as the water's coming up anyway, those creeks and everything are going to back up. The high river's basically going to stop them. It's going to shut them down, and they're basically the flow is going to go to hell, the flow could go backwards, honestly, towards the opening, but that ends up being calm water and whatnot. And some of the bait will choose to go there to get out of the craziness, and some of the fish will follow, but if they don't, you don't want to waste an entire day chasing them. If they ain't biting, if they're just not cooperating, you got to change something. You got to do something different. Creole.
Yo.
Eric is waiting on Team Better Cheddar out of you.
Team Better Cheddar, baby. Ride or die.
Ride or die. Warpeg says it's a good time to hit the lakes and drag. I was up by Hoover yesterday. Now, by the time I got by the Hoover yesterday, it was dark, but the pool I was on looked clean, clear water all the way across. So Hoover may have opened up with this all this water that got flushed into it, and the warmer temperatures and the high wind. Wind will help melt things pretty quick. So Hoover may be an option this week. Clearview Outdoors is in the house. What's up, Skip?
What's up, Skip?
If you guys didn't see Skip's video on yesterday, he dropped another real upgrade or cleaning video. And this time he was breaking into the side that always scares me, is tearing into the brakes in the side plate of the 6500s. And Skip's videos are so calm and soothing that it just makes me feel like I can do it now. Or I can let him do it.
The Bob Ross of Real Repair.
Bob Ross of Real Repair. Yep. I told him that in his first video. I was like, his voice is just so soothing. He's going to put a little bit of grease right in here, not too much. And we're going to put a happy little bearing right over here and try to speed this thing up a little.
The biggest thing on doing reels in general is just make sure you have room and take your time doing it. Especially if it's your first one.
If you notice that Skip is very organized, and Skip's organized when it comes to everything, and
that's the best way to be when you're pulling a reel apart, and you got at least $150 in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to take your time on it a little bit.
Yeah, especially those C clips. Those things have a tendency to fly. So make sure you got your hands over the reel, or actually Skip. This was his idea. Was because I think Zach tore in one of his, and the C-clip flew across the room and he couldn't find it. He said, lay a towel over your hands. And as you're working that off, if it does fly, it can't fly anywhere. You hit the towel. It's cool.
I'll tell you on those C-clips, I'll give you an old tip from an old mechanic. When anytime you pop at a C-clip, if you have one of those little pin magnets, little magnet pickup tools, keep that magnet pickup tool right by that C-clip. As you pick it out, the second it comes off, that magnet's going to suck it up to it where it can't go anywhere.
Heck yeah. That's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm. It will save your life with those magnets.
I'll tell you what, they got a lot of good oils and stuff to use in them too.
You wouldn't think it makes a difference, but it does.
It makes a heck of a difference. We had a Shimano Calcutta 200 that I put on my daughter's one reel, and the drag washers had finally wore out on it, and it still worked, but not like it was supposed to. And we pulled it apart and re-oiled it and put the new drag washers in it. And I'll tell you what, that new oil and them good drag washers makes a heck of a difference. I didn't know how much drag it didn't have until we put the new ones in it, and I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, you got to really watch it now. It'll lock down pretty dang hard.
Yeah.
It cast about 40 feet further than it did before after oiling it, cleaning it up.
Lee Evans says Brad likes to be in drag. Oh boy.
Here we go.
Harold says the Ohio River has dropped almost 15 feet since noon yesterday. Holy crap. See, that's why I call it the yo-yo river, man. That thing is up and down so fast. It's unreal.
2 or 3 days can make a pretty big difference on it.
Yeah. It's, for me, I like it to be consistent. I like a rule of 3. I think I got this from Chris Souders, I think. But whatever it's doing, I don't care what it's doing, as long as it does it for 3 days. I don't care what it's doing. On that third day, I'm ready to fish. I just took apart.
We just go out fishing when we can.
What's that? Yeah,
exactly.
I don't really care what it's doing as long as the water is still there. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad, I'm with you on that. With work schedules and all, I seem to never be able to fish ideal conditions. I'm always facing some kind of terrible condition that you have to try to make the best of, because, well, if I don't go today, it'll be another week before I can go out,
Yeah. And that's how we are too, because sometimes we fish so many bad conditions. When it's normal condition, we're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We don't ever fish when it's like this.
I can relate to that.
Justin's Fishing Fetish in the house. What's up, buddy? Another channel member. Thank you guys for popping in. I'll try to keep up with the comments here, see if we got any. There we go. It's called Pencil Magnet. Bobcat says there's probably 50 of those C-clips lost on my shop floor.
Yep.
And here's another good tip. Do it inside of a Ziploc bag. That way, if anything falls apart, it can't go anywhere. And you can still see what you're doing. Here we go.
You always have to be aware of the extra pieces, extra parts. Whenever you get it back together and you look down, there's a couple of extra parts laying there like, okay, what happened here?
Solo Texan says, Brad, what's your favorite rig setup, weight style for bank fishing on lake? Rocks, brushy area, muddy, or flat?
I mean, honestly, usually I use a bank sinker when I fish the bank, and I don't do it very often anymore. I used to do it. That's used to be what all we did was bank fish. I'll still use the Carolina rig, and a lot of it depends on the time of the year. If it's spring to late fall, I'll still use the Carolina rig. When it gets into that winter months, we take the floats off and run just hooks and leaders on that Santee rig.
Freddie's in the house. He says, I'm here. Brad, Creole. Oh,
what's up, Freddie?
And Roger too. I see. I feel the love. See, earlier today, we were talking about fishing tomorrow, and it was going to be me and Freddie and J-Dog. And J-Dog said, hey, I'll just sit up front of the boat. I really don't care if I fish. You guys can hang out the back of the boat and do some fishing. And now it's Lee Evans, J-Dog, and Freddie. I got kicked right out.
That sounds like a downgrade if you ask me.
I don't know what happened. I'm just going to show up with my boat and just beach them. I don't know.
Well, Roger, if you do remember, Lee Evans does look slightly better in a dress than you do. So, maybe that had something to do with it.
I don't even know. I can't even argue with that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ian asks, go ahead.
Ian, normally I do. Right now, I have some. If you give me a few days before you want it and let me know, I can make it up. That way I make sure I have it. Lead seems to be going. As soon as I get stock of it, it seems like it disappears the next day. So I do have some. I usually try to keep some of everything, but the way it's been going right now, it's kind of been making them as we go.
Bill Hopper wants to know if you could put a brass eye in a no roll.
It depends on the mold. The one I have, you can't do it. They do sell another mold that actually has to where you can put the brass eyes in them, but I already have this mold, and if I buy another one, maybe, but I don't have any plans on buying them. Because usually, if you're using a no roll, a flat bank will work just as good.
Right. I usually kept a bunch of little eyelets, screw-in eyes.
Yeah.
In my box, and if I decided to go from a no, because I used to only use no rolls, and I've quit using them, and I would screw those into the hole, and now I got a coin sinker, bank sinker.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I never thought about that. We used to use the inline no rolls all the time, but now having them sinker slides, it don't really make sense because I don't want to have to sit there and keep cutting my line every time if we change situations. So I can just flip it, pull it out, and I'm done.
I just didn't, just the same reason I'm not using sinker slides anymore. I just didn't like I did not like the fact that as the boat swung back and forth, it'd pull your sinker over here and then the boat goes back and now your line's going feeding out farther and farther. And you really, especially if you're running a float, you really don't have any idea where your bait is.
I usually keep mine tight. If the boat moves, I'll reel up to it. I just keep doing it. It's kind of a pain, but in the same token, so it's a pain in the butt to take and constantly cut your line. If it's doing it real bad, I'll take the sinker slide and actually put it in the eyelet of the swivel that's on the same side of it and clip it in and clip my sinker in on it and then close it and then it'll stay.
Whitey Fry's in the house. What's up, buddy? He says the Scioto River is raging. I saw part of it earlier. It's all the little creeks, everything's Freddie pleads the fifth. I know nothing. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say I believe that. Let's see. What I have a no roll with the brass eye. Bobcat says I like him a lot.
Yeah,
it's not really a no roll if it's got a brass eye, right?
It's still doing the same thing a flat bank sinker will do.
Yeah. Well, he's saying kind of like what we talked about earlier. They're lower profile than the
disc
style sinkers. See what else we got here.
Yeah, they are lower profile.
Deep End by the Dam gives up some bruisers right now. I'm not sure what lake we're talking about. I seen that they were talking about a tournament series for Rocky Fork or Paint Creek because the normal guy that does the circuits down through there is not doing them this year. So I'm not sure what lake.
It's been a lot of that lately. There's a bunch of tournaments that have been happening for a long time and aren't doing them no more this year.
Yep. Yep. Skip says same thing. Scioto, Paint Creek, North Fork are all up and flooded.
I know. I actually seen Ian's picture this morning about the Maumee.
Yeah.
All ice jumped up.
Yeah, that was crazy. So, Brad, what's your favorite style of fishing, or what technique do you prefer? Given
we usually suspend drift most of the time, just because if you're on anchor on some of them fish and they're not moving, and with the live scope you can literally smack them in the head if you want to. Not saying I've done it a couple times or nothing, but some of them bigger fish get pretty tempted to sit on them for a long time, and if you're moving, you tend to find the ones that are actively feeding. So we do the cover more ground and try not to sit in one spot.
Yep, that's
unless we see something really worthwhile on the fish finder it's worth sitting on, we ain't sitting.
Yeah, that's kind of how we do it. We usually suspend drift down through there, and if we come across something that looks really good, we'll hit spot lock and we'll sit on it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then if nothing, we don't pick up anything, we'll just keep on going down the river.
Yeah, sometimes the Ohio River, if you're actually out in the current on the Ohio River, sometimes even the spot lock don't like it.
Here's a good question. Do you suppose the YouTube live tournaments have any effect on the local style tournaments?
I don't think so.
Yeah, my answer is no. I did see a couple comments up there. I'm not in the loop here, but I see Warpig and Brandon both said new tax laws are what's killing the tournaments right now. So it might just be an Ohio thing because they're both from Ohio too. But I'm not aware of any new tax laws there. But I really don't fish tournaments. My favorite thing at tournaments or to fish are for like benefit tournaments, or there's not really any money involved. So I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. Brad, other than catfish, what is your favorite fish to fish for?
Bait.
You see how fast that was?
Bait.
That was fantastic. Let me think about it.
The only reason why I say this is, like, ever since I grew up that was able to hold a pole and was fishing, it was always for catfish, and they weren't big. I mean, I'll tell you that right now, they weren't big. We were just fishing to fish for catfish.
Yeah.
So if I'm going for anything else, it's bait, bluegill. If we were allowed to use any other game fish, panfish, I'd use it.
We got Josh, the weekend angler, and Eric B tuning in with us as well. Thanks, guys, for stopping in.
Some of the reservoirs around here you can catch perch from the bank. You can toss out with, like, our one reservoir, you can use a chrome colored hook set up on a Kentucky rig, and you can throw it down, and before you get it down, the perch will have a worm gone. I don't mind catching them. They're good to eat.
Yeah, let's see. There you go. He said bait. Oh, it's going to hurt to spank my wife that bad outside of home.
Ooh.
Wait, what just happened?
Ooh.
It's not after 10 o'clock yet.
Hey, that's on the line right there, isn't it? That's on the line.
There we go. Tommy knows. He says, I fish money tournaments. Better check on the new laws.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's Fishing Home says, bait, best answer ever. That will, and the fact that it only took you a half a second to think of it was fantastic.
That's not a hard one to figure out for me. I'll tell you that right now. We slaughter some bluegill.
Okay, I see what you're talking about now. So in the past, tournament winnings were not, well, you're supposed to report all income, but you didn't. It was up to the individual, and now the IRS is requiring that they release the names and amounts to them, so they make sure they get their dirty little hands on it.
Oh yeah, got to get their hands in that cookie jar.
They're going to count it as earned income.
Yep.
Did they leave you out, Raj? Did you forget to shower this month? No, I showered this month. What is the date today? 2/22. Oh shit, I haven't showered this month.
Ruh-roh.
Right there, Creole sighting. Hey, welcome to the show, big guy.
Yeah, I know, man. I was booking it. I'm home 40 minutes before I was supposed to be home, so I did good.
Am I the only one that sees that on the GPS as an estimated timer, and I treat it like a game? Like, I can beat that. I can beat that.
That Duramax was rolling.
Well, I'm glad you made it home safe. And
that possum didn't like that very much, but I was rolling.
It's just, yeah. Quiet Man Curtis says, Brad, if you could fish anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
That's kind of a hard choice because there is a lot bigger fish than catfish. But if it's for catfish, I mean, there's a lot of places. I'd like to fish Creole's waters or LG's waters. They got some pretty dang good water, and they produce some pretty good sized fish.
Yep, that I will brag about anytime, buddy. Open invitation. Oh, yeah. I promise. Anytime.
If it's saltwater, it would probably be grouper or shark, something big.
We got Adam Cook in the house tuning in. Thanks for stopping in, brother. Appreciate
it. Seeing them guys get drug around by a shark off the back of a boat look like it'd be fun.
Josh, there it is. ETA equals time to beat.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah, I spent some time on the James River, and it didn't go my way, and I'm looking for redemption bad. So I'm definitely going back to James River, the Potomac. Watching the fish that come out of there, man, I just jealous. I'm sitting over here just drowning in tears. I'm like, God, why don't my river do this? And so I definitely want to step foot in there and try it out. And,
there's a lot of better waters than Ohio to fish for big fish. That's the good thing. You get the grind of trying to catch fish in Ohio waters, and you catch some pretty good sized ones for the areas that you're fishing. But a lot of other waters produce a lot bigger, a little more fish than what we got, which it's part for the course. It's the water you get, the water you got.
Yeah. The only thing you could do about it is move.
Yeah. Eventually, one day, maybe.
Which is an option for me here soon. So,
the only thing is, it's very hot down here during the summer. I'm just throwing that out there. You got to keep that in mind.
I'm looking at the Tennessee, Alabama area.
I'm used to working in chemical plants and refineries. Around heat exchangers and stuff, it gets pretty dang hot. You get used to working around it.
Yeah.
I worked in refrigeration and freezers for 15 years.
That's the other end of the spectrum I don't like.
I don't mind the cold. It's not the temperature doesn't bother me at all. I just want to catch more fish.
Yeah. That's when I want to be more active on the boat when it's colder.
I figure if I had a place down there in Alabama, I'd have more friends. People would be coming down wanting to stay.
That's good thinking. I like that. I like the way you think, Roger.
I love fishing with people, man. Meeting guys, hanging out. Even at our little event we had in Columbus, I met Fat Boy Eric. I met Quiet Man Curtis, Ian Titman. Who else did I
Chris
get to meet
Daughters.
up there? There was oh shoot, he added me on Facebook. That going Justin. I can't remember his last name, but anyway, just meeting and running into guys and talking and fishing and hanging out. Man, it's what it's all about.
Oh yeah, it makes it a lot more fun while you're doing it.
Whitey, we actually do fish the Scioto a little bit, and believe it or not, there are some blues now in the Scioto. There aren't a lot, but they've migrated their way up from the Ohio River, and we've seen people that have caught some blues out of the Scioto River now. So they're there. They're not in great numbers, but yeah, Scioto is known for big shovel heads. Well, he said shovel heads because he's from Ohio too. They're known for big shovel heads and big channel cats too. But I don't fish it much, to be completely honest. My boat won't fit on there, so I usually head to the Ohio. But every now and then I got a couple buddies that's got small boats that we go run around on there.
What in the world is a shovel head?
It's
I had to. Yeah, I can't help myself sometimes.
There you go. Tommy says, I fish with everyone. That's right.
Yeah.
War Pig. What's he talking about? Sinker giveaway.
Sinker giveaway. I didn't get that email.
I didn't either.
You have to talk to someone higher up than me.
Yeah, I fished Scioto and caught. Hey, there you go. That's right. Clearview caught a 9-pound blue out of the Scioto. He doesn't fish it very often, so now his son does fish it a lot more often than he does, and he catches some nice fish up in there in a small boat.
Oh yeah, with their little stocking program, I'm sure they're going to get some blues where they normally haven't been.
Well, with them throwing blues into Rocky Fork, I know you know this too, but the amount of bait fish, shad, and are just outrageous in Rocky Fork. Now, Paint Creek's just as bad, but they drain Paint Creek down for winter pool with flood control lake. So I can understand them not wanting to put them in there, but
yeah,
10, 15 years from now.
Tell you what, them blues are going to have a heyday at Rocky Fork with all those bass that are in there.
Harley Davidson makes shovel heads. God made flatheads.
I had to put that one up there. That is awesome.
Hey, Whitey, we've caught them up here in Chillicothe, the Blue Cats. I don't know how far past Chillicothe. Skip will know more about that than I will at this point. Harold says he's hit some blues around Lucasville. Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we have 3 50-pound boxes.
You can't hold that in your hand.
Yeah, you can. It looks like a suitcase, but they're about 50 pounds a piece.
Wow.
Just because I have a habit of losing stuff sometimes because I'll throw in the brush when I know I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there looking at the brush and I'm like, the way this is sitting, that fish is probably going to be here. And then I'll throw right to that spot as close as I can get to it.
I lost 8 12-ounce sinkers in one trip.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long ago.
That's why I'm glad I don't bank fish as much anymore, because it seems like every time I do now, it's usually a 5-pound minimum of loss.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good evening, Lisa Elliott. Thanks for stopping in.
Welcome in, Lisa.
Yeah, see, we have all that, on a lot of the banks, all the way down to the bottom of the ledge on the rivers, we have that matted revetment. And over the years, it's buckled and broken and the wire sticking up. And, man, I'd love to know how many pounds I've lost because of that stuff. Jeez.
I'd love to be able to pick it up with a magnet.
Wow. There's a lot of it down there, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah. We've actually some of the spots on the little river that we fish, we've actually pulled some of our old weights back up out of some spots just because they finally become unsnagged. Or you catch them just right and you'll pull them up.
Catch them at the right angle or something and bring them. Yeah. I haven't started doing that yet. I really wish.
You will.
Eventually.
You'll find them. Yeah.
Oof.
I'd want to know the best style of weight for anchor fishing in the Mississippi, in your opinion. And Creole, he's going to be able to help us out, I believe, more on this question. But
you say he'll be able to help you out more than I will.
Well, I mean, Brad actually had a good point. You know, it's a trade-off. Personally, I like the river sinkers because when you get them down, they tend to stay put a little better. But, you know, he had a very good point about a bank sinker. It'll get down sometimes faster and easier than a river sinker will, you know.
Yeah,
So
the flat banks, sometimes even banks do good. But the reason why I use the flat banks is because I have one. My mold actually goes up higher in weight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I tend to try to find the heaviest place of current and throw it in there.
Yeah. Yeah. In mine now, like I said, with me, it's a little bit of a special case. I like those big river sinkers because when I do have to throw in that matted revetment, the crack in that matted revetment is about 1 inch wide for the most part. Yeah. That river sinker a lot of times will slide over that crack and not get down in it and get hung like a bank sinker will. I'll lose slightly less sinkers with something big and flat, whether it be a river, a big flat bank, something like that, than a traditional bank sinker.
Yeah, and your bottom is going to play another part. You got it's a 2-part process because you got your current to contend with on top, and then you got whatever's on the bottom, whether it's sand, rock, gravel, mud.
I guarantee whatever's down. I guarantee there's enough mud down there that this is going to sink. So I'm actually starting to second guess whether the profile of this really makes that big of a difference. I'm actually seeing more of the advantage, and I've never thought about that before with the bank sinker having that wedge style shape to it.
Well, that's what
cut.
That's why I like these flat banks, because of the cut right here. So when they do lay flat, if you got any kind of material, this is going to sink in. If you got half that sinker in mud or sand, that water is going to go right over the top of it just because of the angles of it.
Right.
But the bank sinkers are kind of the same way. They have that way all the way around, but you got that little bit of edge.
Yeah. I've never used that style bank sinker before.
There's a bunch of ways to flux your lead. It just depends on how you want to do it. Sawdust, wax. It's more on preference of what you want to do and how you want to do it. Like a lot of times when we're cleaning it, I'll actually turn we get the temperature a little over 1,000 degrees. So it burns a lot of that stuff up without even having to put anything in it. But not everybody's got the ability to take and get lead that hot too. So
this is puzzles me. I don't know. I've never used pyramid sinkers other than ocean fishing, but I don't see how pyramids work good in fast waters. Do you have a take on that?
Because of how the backside is, I didn't bring any in here. I actually made some up, but what it does is that point reverses when it starts dragging, and it digs in on the backside of it. I've seen people use them, but I mean, it's more on preference of what you want.
Yeah,
I got you.
If you've got a real sandy bottom,
they'll dig in.
That's what the pyramid is designed for.
Let's see what else we got. Mike's reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. If you enjoyed hanging out with Brad tonight and hopefully learning something about sinkers and miscellaneous whatnot. If anybody has questions about sinker types, anything, questions for Brad or either one of us as well, feel free to get them in. We just hit 1 hour, so we'll get to wrapping this thing up here in just a few minutes. And
if you have questions you don't want to ask on stream, you're more than welcome to message me. I'll answer them as fast as I can. It's a little harder through the day, back to working, but I promise you, I'll get to you right on my break when I get off to where I can use my phone. Just carbon powder.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I put that up here because I don't know what that means.
It's just like wood
Oh, okay.
stuff is still carbon. It's for fluxing it.
Matt says a pyramid will sink quick.
Pyramids do sink quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only used them on a couple saltwater rigs, and that was it. There we go. Brad needs to post more videos of making some weights.
I do. I got one made, and then I haven't been able to have time to do another one. Hopefully, I'll be able to do it here pretty soon. We'll do a different sinker style.
Eric's asking for the best one on Hoover Reservoir. If you're asking me for a sinker, you're talking to the wrong guy. Have you ever seen me sit still on Hoover? I've never sat still on Hoover. I drag the whole time. That's
what we like on our small river. We'll anchor up on it a lot just because some of the stuff is so bad to drag through. It doesn't get enough flow to flush it out. So it just moves the stuff little at a time, and some of it embeds itself in and stays there. So you're left to contend with it. I mean, there's whole trees in it.
Stan giving you some shout outs there. It's an awesome show. Brad's amazing guest. And the only weights we use on Two Stands Fishing is Tidal Weights. And don't forget this.
Stan's going get a bunch of them from us.
Stan's going live here in just about 30 minutes. He's going to be live for the last 2 hours and 22 minutes of 222.22. So we'll get things wrapped up here in just a minute and give everybody time to take a potty break and get ready for Stan's show. I will definitely be there. Let's see. There we go. Storm sinkers. What are storm sinkers?
They're the ones they look like a pyramid and then they spiral to a small. They almost look like a chess piece cut out.
Okay.
I think it'd be a pawn. I don't know much about chess, but I think it's a pawn.
Yeah.
And Mr. Gadget, send me a message and I'll see what I can find.
There you go.
That I know that I bet I can point you in the right direction for one.
Okay.
Here's a question. If you could fish with anybody, who would it be and why?
Oof. That's a long list.
Yeah.
Well,
that list could go for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine would be my grandpa. He's no longer with us, but he's one of the very first people that got me fishing when I was little. He'd come by and pick me up, and we'd go catfishing. We'd catch little channel cats. We fish, small rivers around Ohio here. But he's what got the wheels turning as far as catfishing goes. Really, my dad, he got me started on panfish and bass when I was really small, 6 and 7. But Grandpa got me into catfishing, and if I could fish with anybody, I'd like to fish with Grandpa one more time.
What about you, Brad?
That'd be a pretty long list for me. There's a lot of people I'd like to fish with. I mean, there's the obvious ones of Steve Douglas, Chris Saunders. They'd be great to fish with just because the amount of knowledge that they have and the amount of time that they've been chasing trophy-sized fish is pretty impressive. But I mean, there's a lot of people on YouTube that I'd love to fish with that I haven't got to, and eventually we'll start knocking some of them off the list. Hopefully, here pretty soon.
Yeah,
that's it. You just gotta
chip away at it.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got a long list too, like every single person in chat.
No, right.
And I've been pretty fortunate. I fished with some of these guys in chat. And I know Brad and I have been working around plans to get out too. Our schedules are a little touchy, but me and Brad, it won't be too long. We'll be out on the water.
My work situation tends to interfere with my fishing situation. So need to balance each other out somewhere.
You just got to quit your job.
Yeah, that's a lot of truth right there.
Yeah, I asked him if we could work like 16 hours a day and only work 2. And he laughed at me.
Yeah, I bet.
Sinker type for dragging and weed infested lake.
Ooh,
dragging through weeds. What's up, Pat?
Some of them weeds are pretty bad. It honestly depends on the height of them and how thick they are.
Yeah, that's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, because like Indian Lake by us, they didn't used to have a weed and algae problem, and now it's got a weed. They tried cleaning it up and cleared the lake up so much that it actually created growth on the bottom, and now it's there, which is it could be really bad for fishing. Sometimes you're better off trying to suspend your baits off of a bobber or something to stay out of them. The dragging weights will work, but if it's really thick, they're gonna catch on something.
Yeah,
some of that weeds are pretty bad.
Yeah, I was fishing with Tommy's brother, Rocky Fork, last year, and I run very, very long rigs, leaders when I fish, dragging lakes, and we was dragging through about 3-4 foot of water, and I was running a 7-foot long rig, and so my bait was pretty much on top of the water because, it was only 3-4 feet.
Yeah,
and caught a catfish. It came up out of there like a bass. We heard it splash and hit before the rod ever moved, dragging through all these weeds, and it was just awesome.
Yeah,
I know the people that fish Mendota would be a good people to ask about weeds, because I know they have it, and there's a certain way you got to fish it. We don't do a lot of it. It's usually river. We don't do too much lake anymore, just because the lakes don't produce any real size to them.
Uncle Lou's in the house. He's a day late and a dollar short, but we still love him. J-Dog's in the I didn't know if he'd show up or not.
J-Dog
stood me up today, saying he was going to call me. If I had feelings, they'd be hurt.
The question now is, what was Lee Evans wearing to be able to take your place in that boat?
Yeah.
Do we want to see? Probably not, but that is a question.
I bet you it was a short skirt, at least, minimum.
Amy might have something to do with it too. We can't ever take her out of the equation.
I like Amy.
I'll take Amy and Tara out of my boat.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you're talking.
So, all right, guys.
One thing about it, it's like in Amy's situation. I've heard just getting out and starting to fish, that drive when you first get into fishing to fish is always awesome to see from anybody.
Yep.
The weeds killed bank fishing for cats at Rocky.
Yep.
Why do you get a hold of me, man? We'll get out there. We'll do some dragging.
Try using some like Patriot floats or a bobber setup.
J-Dog, I did not. I said I will have my truck tomorrow. She is not working tomorrow. Janice's car broke down, has a knock sensor went out on it, and the dealership wants $400 to put a knock sensor in.
Something you could probably do in under a half hour, probably.
Yep. Well, you got to take the intake off and all that, but
that's what I was gonna say. If it's in the lifter valley, you got to pull the intake off. Still ain't still ain't the end of the world.
It ain't the end of the world, but it's but they already have the car and they got the part and they can have it done in the morning. Other shops I called were like $200, half the price, but they can't get the part till later in the week. And
yeah,
if she drives my truck to work, it's about $50 a day. So I can either spend $200 extra in gas or spend $200 extra and just get the damn car. We'll just get the car. J-Dog says it's lies.
Throw in the shade, I tell you.
All right. Lance says I'll be using Brad's drifting weights on Mendota from the bank this year. There you go. You got to reel it back in through that crap. It's it's gonna make a difference.
Oh yeah, it will.
So,
We've had some pretty good luck with them. I know that.
Brad, before we take off here, you got anything coming up here in the near future?
We're gonna be going to CatCon on Saturday.
Yep.
That's probably really the only thing I got other than the work schedule for right now. We got any real big plans. Hopefully do some fishing here pretty soon.
Yeah. I'm going fishing. I don't care where or how, but I gotta go. I gotta get on the water. I'm starting to get some twitch.
We haven't fished from January 1st, so it's been too long.
I need some slime in my life.
It seems like it's been 6 months, but it hasn't really been that long.
Matt says he's definitely going to message you about those trolling weights and pick your ear a little. So, look, like a blister shows up after all the work's done.
What's up, Epic?
What's up, buddy? Where have you been? Man, I haven't talked to him forever either.
He has been very busy prepping for CatCon. I can tell you that for sure.
I've seen his monster cutouts and stuff, man. Those things look awesome. I'm so frustrated that I'm not going to CatCon. But I won't indulge in the details, but I'm upset. But hey, we're going to go ahead and shut this thing down. You guys be sure to hop over and check out Two Stands Fishing for the 2 hours and 22 minutes left of 222.22. And we'll see you guys there. Brad, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and experience with us. And
always good to come on the show.
Absolutely. Can't wait to get with you and do some fishing. Same with Creole and about half of everybody else in chat. I just want to go fishing. Let's go.
Go fishing, baby.
All right. Next week, we got Doc Lang, the legend himself.
Can't wait to see that one.
Alabama. We'll have a thumbnail up here later. I tried to get him to send me some pictures today, but he said, sorry, I've been catching skipjack all the live long day. And he's going to be out. Yeah. Oh, I feel so bad for you.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
He's planning on being out on the water tomorrow all day, so we'll see how the fishing goes. He says, which makes me feel a little bit better, he says the fishing's been pretty lousy lately down there. So hopefully things will turn around for him. And
I bet you Doc's version of lousy and my version of lousy is two different things.
Yeah. His version of lousy is probably about 3 or 4 over 40 and a couple over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, there again, perception, is reality. So, so be sure to come back next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. Be there, be square. We'll see y'all.
Bon pêcher, everybody.
Bon pêcher.
Thanks for stopping in, everybody.
Yep. Thank you all for being here.